Yo, yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Fro Thizzle. And today I'm going to be talking about the movies that I got to watch in January 2024. Now, it's the second year anniversary for Fro Monthly Watches. I've been doing it for 2 years now. But let's rock, let's move on. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. First up, we have Boys in the Boat, the new George Clooney directed film. Now, for the most part, I did enjoy this one, but I will admit it is a rather run of the mill traditional underdog story where we see the team that we don't expect to win the prize at the end of the film. And there are a bunch of these, to be fair, but I'm a sucker for them. Clooney does a good job depicting the period piece of this time, the World War II setting and the Olympics. I enjoyed this film. I didn't have a problem with it per se, but I can understand other people saying that it's rather run of the mill. Next up, we got the new movie Origin. Now, long story short, I wasn't a big fan of this film. The way it was delivered, the acting is rather strong. I can't take that away, but the writing really made me cringe and made me facepalm at certain areas. I thought the film was very overlong. It could have easily been 30 minutes or 25 minutes could have been shaved off. And I thought the movie started to pick up steam the last 30 minutes in the finale. Like towards the end, I really was getting invested, but the first hour and a half or so, I was pretty checked out. I thought it was rather boring. And again, the writing I thought was really cringeworthy. But I have to shout out Niecy Nash, who I thought put in a fantastic performance, the best acting in the whole film. And Jon Bernthal, Shane from The Walking Dead, who I'm a big fan of, or The Punisher, the new Punisher. He does a great job here. And Anjanae Ellis Taylor, to be fair, does put in a great acting job as the main character, the lead. But the movie overall, I wasn't a fan of. This one is a skip for me. Next up, we have a film that I kind of wanted to love, but overall, I was pretty disappointed. The 2013 film Raise. Now, we follow Zoe Bell, who I do like as an actress. I think she kicks ass, and she does do a good job in this film. It's a brutal one. We focus on her character. She's trapped inside of this this contest where these women have to ultimately beat and kill each other to become the ultimate top winner. But I wasn't a fan. I would skip this one as well. The violence overall and the camera work I thought was either boring or I just felt there weren't too many great surprises or nothing that kept me on my seat. This one is a skip. The Meg 2. Now, people were shitting on this movie. People despise it. And I don't love the movie, don't get me wrong. But I don't despise it either. I thought there were one or two moments here or there that I thought were pretty cool. But overall, the movie is absolutely ridiculous. It is a gigantic mess. It's nowhere near great or good, but I didn't think it was terrible either. So hit or miss for me, I would say hit and miss. Jason Statham, I am a fan of, but he looked pretty bored through the film, I have to admit. There's one or two Jason Statham moments that I did like, but this one I didn't hate like everybody did, but I have to admit it's not great. But this film right here is a stinker. Now I'm talking about the 2022 film The Lair, directed by Neil Marshall, who I am a fan of. He directed one of my favorite films, Dog Soldiers, The Descent, which I'm a big fan of. But this right here is his absolute lowest. This movie sucks. The blood and gore, a lot of it is practical, and that's probably some of the saving grace of the film. But the acting is dog shit. The writing is dog shit. The lead actress co-wrote the script with Neil Marshall, and she's acting like it's not even her script. Like she's dumbfounded. Her character, she's going through the motions, completely clueless. There's a big question mark over her head through the entire film. And stay away from this movie. If you're a fan of Neil Marshall, this one might break your heart. It's his lowest point, in my opinion, so far. I'm just going to go rewatch The Descent or Dog Soldiers. The Lair sucks. Big skip. This one surprised me quite a bit. The Beekeeper, starring Statham. Now, the movie title is dumb, and I do feel like they should have went with a different film title. But I did have a good time with the movie. I really did. I thought Statham did a good job. I felt like he wasn't sleepwalking in this film. The action set pieces are rather memorable. We have some notable actors like Felicia Rashad, and even if she has a smaller role, it's pretty pivotal for the story and gives a big reason for Jason Statham to go after the villains. So it's nice to see her in the film. I don't get to see Josh Hutcherson play a bad guy every day, and I thought he did a good job playing a complete scumbag. You do want to see him get his comeuppance by the end of the film. You want to see him dead. His character. I had a great time with The Beekeeper, and I would even say the film is better than the title, for sure. Good Burger 2. Now, I expected this one to be complete dog shit. To be honest, I really did. I had no expectations for this film. I'm like, this is 20 plus years too late for this film to even be made. I felt like Good Burger 2 should have been made 2 years after the first film. But there's some moments in here that made me get that nostalgic factor in a good way. And there's some callbacks and references to the first film, obviously, of course. We're going to expect that. I thought Kenan and Kel both did a good job getting back into their characters 20 years later. Especially Kenan, almost flawlessly for him. Kel, you can tell, was a little bit rusty here and there, but I still give kudos to him because it's really cool to see him after all these years. He can show that he still has that much energy. And I did somewhat like this movie. Is it great? No. Is it better than the first film? I have to think about that, honestly, because the first film I don't love either. It's a bit harder for me to choose between the first or second because this second one surprised me despite having a terrible villain. The villain is awful. If there's anything dog shit about this movie to me, it might be the main villain. But Good Burger 2, a surprisingly nearly decent time for Fro. Orphan First Kill. Now, this film I didn't hate and I didn't love either. It's right down the middle. I think Isabelle Fuhrman does a decent job getting back to playing Esther, but we can absolutely tell that she's a little bit older. And the movie does its very best with camera trickery and trying to make it seem like she hasn't aged at all. And that's not me coming for the actress at all. Again, I thought Isabelle Fuhrman on the acting side did a pretty good job. I'm just blaming the directors and the writers a bit with them trying to hide it because it didn't work for me at times. You can obviously tell when they get a stunt double or a younger girl when they shoot the back of the head in certain angles. It's very noticeable. But the movie itself, I didn't hate because there were some cool ideas. Esther infiltrates a new family's home, and it looks like we're going to follow kind of the same formula of the original film, but there's a nice twist into it that I didn't expect, that I thought was rather decent. It all kind of falls apart for me near the finale, and I really didn't care overall. So again, right down the middle, didn't hate, didn't love. All right, moving on to the movies that I got to rewatch. First up, we have Fallen, the Denzel movie. Now, this is a film that I am a fan of, but the last time I saw it, I was around 12, and I'm 26 now. I think this movie kicks ass. I find it to be rather underrated, very creepy, the overall plot, and it's cool to see Denzel in this kind of movie. We don't get to see him in a damn near horror, hardcore thriller, supernatural kind of film involving a man battling demons. Now, on the acting side, of course, Denzel was always going to kill it. He's my personal favorite actor of all time. We also have John Goodman, who's another one of my favorites. He puts in a great performance playing Denzel's cop buddy partner, and they both are trying to figure out this case. We're mainly focusing on Denzel as he's battling and trying to figure out how this demon works and how he's possessing and transforming through people. It is a rather slow burn at times, but the movie overall I thought was really effective. Very strong performances from the entire cast. But I will admit, the biggest pet peeve that I have might be the very last 2 minutes of the film. So as much as I love the movie, the very ending does kind of piss me off. And I will say that, but I still love the movie, if that makes any sense. All right, next up, Godzilla Minus One. This is my second viewing. I still love this movie wholeheartedly. Fantastic performances. When Godzilla pops up and he's causing mayhem, it's absolutely felt. I cared about the characters 100%. Fantastic use of special effects compared to how bigger budgets use them in Hollywood overall. But Godzilla Minus One, I highly recommend. Check out my full review on my channel when you get a chance. Here Comes the Boom, Kevin James's MMA fighting movie. Now, I rather like this one a lot. I think Kevin James does a good job. He's obviously shed a lot of pounds. He's packed on some muscle. He even co-wrote this film, so you can tell he was very passionate about it. And I've heard some bad things about him personally, but I do like the guy as an actor. And I even like when he dips into the drama territory, or even recently with Becky, where he played the main villain. But Here Comes the Boom, it was very easy for me to like the character. I like the fighting sequences. Henry Winkler, I think, steals the show. He plays a very, very likable music teacher that's trying to save his program. And Kevin James eventually gets into the MMA fighting circuit. He doesn't mind if he loses because he still gets paid. He's just trying to get a budget together for the music program to save it. And overall, I like this movie maybe a little bit more than some other people do, but I recommend this one. I think this is a solid film to watch with the family. And finally, the last rewatch that I got to catch was Anchorman 2. Now, this one, I am a bit happier that I did eventually rewatch it, because the first time I saw this in theaters, I thought Anchorman 2 was severely disappointing. I hated it. I loved the first Anchorman. I wholeheartedly love that movie so much. It's ridiculous, but it's hilarious from A to Z, start to finish. Will Ferrell gives me some of the biggest chuckles ever in the first Anchorman. I'm a big fan of that film. But Anchorman 2, the first time I saw it, I thought it sucked, and I almost wanted to walk out of the theater, but I eventually stuck through it. On this viewing, I have to say, on a more grown-up viewing, if you will, a lot of the jokes that I didn't get when I was younger, I understood more, and they made me laugh. I was like, yo, I'm actually laughing a little bit more on this viewing than I did the first time. I will admit that. Now, do I love the sequel? No. But there are some memorable moments here and there, like off the top of my head, Brick's fake out funeral. That gave me a big laugh on this viewing more than I remembered. But Anchorman 2, I kind of recommend. If you love the first film, you might hate the second. But there is some of that same magic from the first, but not completely. You can tell there is a big chunk missing somewhere. And I would say that this Anchorman 2 should have been shaved off like maybe 15 or 10 minutes. I think it is a bit overlong. There are 2 or 3 scenes and character arcs that I would cut out and I wouldn't feel hurt about it. But that's just me. And that's it, y'all. It's your boy Fro Thizzle. That's what I got to catch in January 2024. Now, the 2nd year anniversary for this channel, Fro Thizzle Reviews, is coming up next month in March. I'll be 2 years in the making, and it just flew the fuck by. Yeah, let's build a community together. Any nerds out there like myself, you're more than welcome to drop a couple comments here and there and talk about the latest movie updates or what's going on, etc. Feel free. I'm always open. I'm always reading through comments. So thank y'all very much. Fro Thizzle. I'm blabbering right now, and I'm out. Peace.